Hey, I highly appreciate you guys joining me right here on Twitch and X. And if you're a new viewer right now, give me a follow and a subscribe right here on the show. I highly appreciate that as always, and support the podcast as well. As I mentioned, take the podcast to go, scan the QR code right above me as well. That being said, man, Hulk Hogan passed away. Wild, right? Wild to think about that. Now, if you watch Friday Night SmackDown tonight, it was a very emotional tribute to Hulk Hogan tonight. The 10 bell salute, the kickoff SmackDown tonight. Very beautiful, great production, man. You cannot say the WWE doesn't make good production, right? They're the best in the world when it comes to making and creating some of the best production videos in the industry, not just in pro wrestling, but all across the industry. And when it comes to sports and, just you know, trying to get a turnaround time to get this production video set up for tonight for SmackDown, man. And it's incredible how fast they got everything put together tonight, which was a beautiful thing. Now, that being said, there's always the good and then there's always the bad, right? When it comes to high profile, and Vince McMahon is probably another another person just like Hogan, right? Vince, he's the godfather, right? Vince is the creator of sports entertainment. He revolutionized pro wrestling ever since he bought the company from his father. But then Vince also had the dark clouds, right? The dark side, right? There's always some negative shit. And same thing with Hogan. Hogan revolutionized professional wrestling. Obviously, him and Vince were very tight, right? They created the sports entertainment from the ground up, from what it is today. Was Triple H said it today on SmackDown? If there wasn't Hulk Hogan, there won't be. I mean, WWE wouldn't be where it's at today, right? Hulk Hogan is a American, pop culture, right? Rock and wrestling, right? Led the 80s through pro wrestling, dominated in the pro wrestling scene throughout the 80s. Him and Vince, man, Vince taking out territory by territory, national expansion, you name it, man. Hulk Hogan is the key reason, right? He is the key reason why WWE exploded into a mega conglomerate, which we all know today, him and Vince. So there's always the negative side, the dark side, the controversies, all the crazy stuff that Hogan did, put some bad tastes in some people's mouths as well. That being said, we're not going to shit talk Hogan, of course. But of course, we are going to acknowledge some of the things he did wrong. But at the same time, we're going to acknowledge the good things he did for the pro wrestling industry as well. He again a trailblazer, right? A legend, two-time Hall of Famer. They talked about it tonight. He what? How many times? Six-time world champion. Was it WCW or WWF as well? And I love the footage they showed on SmackDown tonight. Him winning the title by defeating the Iron Sheik back in 1984, right? Hulk Hogan is the staple of Madison Square Garden. I saw a photo on the Madison Square Garden Twitter and Facebook page. They put a, rest in peace Hulk Hogan on the marquee. Same thing with the Allstate Arena. They put a marquee as well of Hulk Hogan, rest in peace. He made a mark at Allstate Arena as well. Those who know the Rosemont Horizon. Again, the same building, which the package they showed on SmackDown tonight, they had one clip of him in AWA, which they did not talk about that. Obviously, the Rosemont Horizon here in Chicago. That was the pivotal moment where, he contacted Vince. That's where Hulk Hogan decided to say, screw that. I'm leaving the AWA. I'm jumping ships and joining the WWF. Hulkamania is coming with me. And that was the pivotal moment as well. And that came in that building, the Allstate Arena, the Rosemont Horizon, right? And that's why I always talk about the Allstate Arena being so historic, because moments like those is part of wrestling history. And of course, my personal recollection as a fan, first time I saw Hogan, I became a Hogan fan was the NWO, the Attitude Era. That's when Hogan became my life. Now everyone has their own stories. Everyone was part, there was the older generation who grew up through the 80s. They were part of the yellow and red Hulkamania, say your prayers, take your vitamins, yada, yada, yada. So there is people that's been through that genre, right? And there's people have been through the 90s. Of course, just the whole Hulkamania explosion, him and Andre, him and the Mega Powers, and Macho Man, you got the Ultimate Warrior. And, eventually the 90s came through, has some Sergeant Slaughter's action going down. And eventually, if you know the history of Hogan, of course, I'm not going to go through the whole thing by detail. Things got stale between him and Vince. Eventually, he left and joined WCW, which they talked about it tonight. He brought the yellow and red gimmick down to WCW, brought some eyeballs down there. Things weren't going well as the time progressed. And of course, Bash at the Beach, right? The iconic moment which Hogan turned heel, which they showed last night. Not last night, tonight on SmackDown. And the NWO was born. And of course, they're not going to talk about the negative stuff, right? All the bullshit that going on backstage at WCW, all the management shit show issues they had in WCW, which led Hogan to leave WCW and quit. And then he went away. Eventually, Vince McMahon bought the WCW. Eventually, Hogan came back to WWE back in what they mentioned 2002. And that's where I saw Hogan live in person. My mom taking me to the Allstate Arena, Rosemont Horizon, 2002. Hogan's coming out. He's coming out with the red and yellow gimmick, right? Bringing back the Americana Hulk Hogan. Eventually, they revived the NWO as they talked about it on SmackDown tonight. And a nice video package with Triple H on voiceover. And they brought back the NWO. So I was there in person to see this stuff, man. I was there to witness all that stuff. Man, I'm very grateful to be there and present as a kid. See Hulk Hogan wrestle. There's some things they didn't touch in the promo package tonight. Hogan left WWE to go join TNA Wrestling, right? TNA Wrestling, starting to get a little hot, baby. They were starting to make a little bit of noise. Not competition, but TNA Wrestling was making some noise with young talents like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Homicide, a lot of these young guys in TNA, Eric Young, Hogan and Bischoff jumped ships, right? Sting showed up in TNA Wrestling, Booker T, Kurt Angle, a lot of these guys went to the Hardys. Jeff Hardy was in TNA at that time as well. That's how I discovered TNA Wrestling, seeing Jeff Hardy climbing a six-sided steel cage. But eventually I followed through when even Hogan and Bischoff joined TNA. And obviously, they tried to attempt to go against the WWE. I remember that too, as I was like in high school when that happened. Like, hey, we're gonna go against Monday Night Raw. That was when Monday Night Raw, WWE was going PG-13. Things were shitty, right? You got Bryan Danielson, selling hot dogs in the crowd with Kane. It's like just very bad McMahon era PG-13 WWE. So that's when I jumped ships to TNA and I became a TNA fan. And remember them trying to attempt to go against WWE and it didn't work out well for TNA. Obviously TNA's history from there, TNA went downhill ever since. And eventually Hogan left. And Hogan's been, popping up around, the Comic Cons and whatnot, and obviously the whole controversy with him and Bubba Love Sponge, Hulk Hogan, of course, the whole controversy with that sex tape, of course, dropping the N-word, relating to his daughter dating, another guy. And, that put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, right? What he said, be careful, with cameras around you, which was a bad response to that. Put a bad taste to a lot of people, a lot of the guys and gals backstage in the WWE, right? And a lot of people wasn't sure if WWE was going to allow him to come back at that period of time. But that was one of the many things that put bad taste in some of the fans, right? Some of the bad things that put in his taste. Again, I try to stay away from political stuff much as I can. Yes, political also played a role as well. Him endorsing as a Republican, Trump and all that stuff. I kind of put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth as well. You got Hulk Hogan, talking about bullshit stuff, right? Saying some stuff that doesn't make sense, right? Him being the basis for Metallica. Okay, all right, Hulk, just settle down there for a second, buddy. I'm a huge Metallica fan. You know me, I'm a big rock and metal fan. I have my own heavy metal podcast, a Less Than a Headbanging podcast. I'm a big Metallica fan. I know the history of Metallica, right? I know since way back. Little redheaded guy named Dave Mustaine, right? Played in the early days of Metallica, which we all know Dave Mustaine's and Megadeth, right? One of the big four thrash metal, right? Ron Montgomery, the original bass player of Metallica. Now, this was before Kill 'Em All. Right, Kill 'Em All. Eventually, Dave Mustaine get fired because he was a drunk bastard and started Megadeth. Ron quit the band. So then that's when you have Kirk Hammett, which we all know still in the band today, and Cliff Burton. I guess you could say the original, but Cliff Burton wasn't. But Cliff Burton is play a big role as a bass player in Metallica, which rest in peace. Tragically passed away back in the 80s. So Hulk Hogan was never part of Metallica. He probably seen him in the early days. Metallica was in the Bay Area. Hulk Hogan was allegedly billed from Venice Beach, California. So there's two different locations. So I don't believe that one bit. So that being said, Hulk Hogan, him and his, BS, interviews, he'll say, people scratch their heads, people will scoff at that. Other podcasters and wrestling industry I listen to, that they scoff at that as well. So that just adds on to the list of putting people in bad taste. Now, that being said, despite all the negativity, right, all the bad stuff, Hogan did a lot of the good stuff, right? He changed the wrestling industry. He did a lot of good things, and he made a big impact, which we all know today is sports entertainment, the World Wrestling Entertainment, a mega conglomerate company. Right, come on, man. Rock and Austin, icon versus icon. I still have it on VHS tape. My parents back at the, I don't know if that's legal, but we bought the pay-per-view and we recorded on the blank tape. I still got the blank tape. Now, I hope the FCC or nobody come after my ass, but I still have the tapes for WrestleMania 17 and WrestleMania 18, right? You got Rock and Austin, one WrestleMania, and you got Rock and Hogan, icon versus icon. So I still got that on VHS. Oh shit, man! You know what, man? Again, this is all part of live television, live streaming. And I talked to, shit, man! Fuck, man! I should have brought this out earlier. Holy shit, man! I still have this. But this is perfect, man. I'm live stream, man. I talked about this. My mom taking. I totally forgot about this. Holy shit! This is perfect, man. I just saw as I turned my head, I have this in my storage, 2002, man, or 2002, 2003 SmackDown. And this is the original sign, man. This is the original sign. Hulkamania still rules. Man, holy shit, man. I still have this. I just saw this on top of my shelf, man. This is the original sign I took to SmackDown when I was a kid. And look in the back, man. The Rock. I can smell what's cooking. The WW. Hold on. Let's see if this on camera. Look at that, WWF The Rock, man. I took this out of my WWF magazine. I used to come to my parents' house, and they ripped it off and put it on here. But yeah, man, this is the sign I took with me when I was a kid. Hulk still rules, man. I was just a kid, man. You think I fucking know about this shit, man? When you're a kid, man, you just want to bring some, back in the day when they brought sign. I mean, they still do, but back in 2000s, man, everyone brought a sign, right? Show me your titties. Creepy old guys and like, why is this guy asking to show these chicks to show their puppies? I'm a kid. I don't know. But now I understand. I've probably been that guy right now too. But anyway, Hulkamania rules, man. This is my original sign I took with me in the 2000s. Wow. Perfect, man. Perfect time in the show on here on the live stream. Anyway, me, I'm an action figure collector. I saw someone on SmackDown brought the LGN in the crowd. And of course, they got the same exact man. I bought this on eBay. LJN, the 1984 series. Hey, how about that, man? WWE announced, was it yesterday or today? They're going to bring the Series 1 Mattel version of LJN. And of course, the first series is going to be feature the Hulk Hogan, the similar design. And this series has John Cena, Logan Paul, And there's somebody else. That's another WWE legend. I can't. Oh, Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes. American Dream, baby. Dusty Rhodes. So they're bringing back the LGN, a similar one to the original one I have in my hand. Coming out, and it's on pre-order on Target.com. And of course, my buddy from mine in the radio industry texts me. He's like, "Hey man, I found this in an antique store. It's another Bendy guy, but this is the WCW Bendy guy, right? This is the WCW when I talked about Hogan bringing the yellow and red to WCW after leaving WWF, which this is 1994. So 10 years difference when it comes to action figures, right? LJN, WCW Bendy guys, man. And I got so many Hulk Hogan action figures. I got the Japanese Mattel edition you can buy from Target. I got a box load of action figures I got to get through, man. I got to clean off. I got my, as I mentioned, as a kid, Attitude Era. I got Hollywood Hogan action figures. Come on, man. Come on. Hulk Hogan, right? One of the few guys out there, like, back in the day when people brought not Pollo. I fucking sound like goddamn Cornholio. I sound like Beavis and Butthead. Cornholio. People bought disposable cameras back in the day, like I did. And I know I got Hogan photos in my photo book over here somewhere from 2000s. And, all the flashing lights back in the day, before cell phone cameras. And, like how The Rock did the rock bottom, right? He does the elbow, hit the ropes, people flashing the cameras. You see the Hardys doing a swanton, people flash the camera. Stone Cold doing the Stone Cold Stunner, people flashing, taking the cameras. Hulk Hogan was one of those guys in the 80s who did the body slam, right? The iconic body slam, the iconic leg drop, the iconic, right, ear call, right? Come on. Just those simple things. It's a legendary thing, man. It's just, that's what defines professional wrestling, right? That's what it is. The smallest thing right there gets the guy over. You see a body slam, you know what the hell's going to happen. Hulk Hogan hit the ropes. There goes a leg drop. Him hulking up, right? They're beating the shit out of him, right? A few chops. That hulking up, man. It's just small things like that define a character, define a person. What's defined Hulk Hogan, right? Those small things, right? People get jacked up and amped up, taking photos, experience the moment, and sit in front of TV at home or in the crowd as well. Those so small things, like Randy Orton, RKO, man, when you see him slithering, dude, you better get your camera out, your phone out, and take some photos and video and wait for that RKO. John Cena, plan to do the 5-knuckle shuffle. You know what's going to happen, right? You know what's going to happen. Same thing with the attitude adjustment area. So it's just these smallest things define a superstar. And Hulk Hogan is one of those guys that trailblazed, man. So, my goodness, man, just a long history, man. It's a long history of Hogan. It's incredible, man. It's an incredible career. Despite all the negative, controversy stuff out there, I try to look at the positive stuff, man. I try to look at the positive stuff, and just grateful that I was able to witness Hogan, Attitude Era, 2000s, and TNA as well. Just what he contribute to the wrestling industry. So, if you're a hardcore, Hulk Hogan fan, you're going to miss him. We're all going to miss him, right? I know some people are not going to miss him. And, that's your personal opinion. I get it, man. And look, man, I'm not the one of those guys who want people to die. I don't wish people a death or anything, even if I disagree with the biggest things, right? Even if I I don't, there's a lot of things I don't agree with Hogan, but you know what, man? He is a legend. He revolutionized pro wrestling. I look at him as, man, I look at him as a wrestler. I look at him as Hulk Hogan, not Terry Boella. Casey is Boella. Fucking Terry, right? Terry. As him, right? He may be a good guy backstage, and I don't know. I'm just a fan on the outside. You hear stories all about how he's a good guy backstage. He's drinking beer with the boys. Maybe he is truly a good guy backstage, man, helping people out. And then maybe some guys think he's a piece of shit as well. I don't know. But as a fan, I look at him as Hulk Hogan, and he is a trailblazer to what WWE is known as today, the pro wrestling industry is today. So that's the way how I look at it. You know, I'm not going to be pissed off. I'm not going to refuse to acknowledge it because it's just, come on, man. You know, if a person dies, man, just sympathy, man. That's when you sympathy. And for those who are affected, like Jimmy Hart, you know, I'm glad to see Jimmy Hart. You know, he was very close to him for a long time, right? Jimmy Hart went everywhere with Hulk Hogan. So it's great to see some of the legends that showed up that, you know, was part of Hogan's history, you know. And I kind of regret, man. There's some things you regret, man. And I talk about this even on the rock and metal side, man. Go see a legendary band like AC/DC, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, because they're not going to be around no more. Same thing with legends, right? If they're going to be at a Comic Con, they're going to be autograph signings, they're going to be at Fan Fest, see them, get autographs, get some pictures, support them, because they're not going to be around too long, right? We talk about this, man. We live a short life, man, and anything could happen, right? We saw what happened to Hogan, man. We heard rumors that his health wasn't doing good. We heard rumors that, you know, we don't know how long Hogan has left, man. And, you know, and again, we don't know what's the official death, which is not my place to talk about. And we just heard reports he had cardiac arrest. I don't know. Whatever happened, you know, I guess Hogan was going through issues. I guess he had some, you know, surgery happen. And, you know, stuff happens, man, where people have complication. I don't know what happened. It's not my duty to say. Let's let the professionals release the details in the family. And again, we got to send our condolences to the family of Terry and, you know, friends, colleagues, and of course the fans out there, man, until we get some answers on what happened. Same thing with Ozzy Osbourne, right? You know, they tried to save him. Of course, you know, didn't go out the way it be. And again, I did the Ozzy Osbourne, you know, episode just like this a couple days ago. I'm going to put the video up on YouTube into the Square Circle podcast on my Lesson Headbanging Podcast YouTube page. And I dropped the podcast of, well, about Ozzy Osbourne. I'm a huge Ozzy fan, man. I got vinyl, CDs, and all that stuff behind me, T-shirts. I've seen Ozzy so many times, and I'm grateful to see them. And I know Hogan did this whole United States, his beer run. He was doing free autograph signings. He hit a couple of my local grocery stores, like 10 minutes from my house. Of course, I didn't go because it was during like on a Wednesday and a Thursday, and I had to work. You know, I kind of regret not just going and taking the time to get an autograph and shake his hand, because again, I look at it more as a professional wrestling side. I avoid the politics. I don't let that bother me. Right? I don't let that take over me, man. I just look at the wrestling. I kind of respect him because what he did in wrestling. That is it. And I kind of regret not getting autographs. So don't make those regrets, man. Anyone, man. Jim Duggan, Jimmy Hart, these guys, I mean, Bret Hart, these guys are still around. If they're going to be your neck in the woods to an autograph signing, do not hesitate to see them. Go out and see them while they're alive, man, while they're still able to do it, you know, able to go out and do some autograph signing, because once they're gone, man. So that's my PSA right there, man. Just go out and see them. Same thing with Cena, same thing with Orton. These guys are not, I mean, they can go another couple years. I know Cena's wrapping up. Go see him. Spoiler, going to SmackDown September 5th. Of course, I have to be there because I was there for the Ruthless Aggression. Go see him, man. Do not make regrets. Go out and see these guys and gals while they're here with us. That's how I'm going to end the show here, man. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. We love you. And, well, we'll see you on the other side, my friend. And hopefully he's up there with Andre the Giant. Hopefully he's up there with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan dipshit. I'm talking about Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah, Macho Man. And Ozzy Osbourne and everyone, man. I'm pretty sure it's busy up there, man. The big guys keeping everyone busy up there. And hopefully one day all of us will be up there to join them as well. All right, that is it, my friends. I'm going to wrap up the show. Thank you for watching this late Friday night as always. And yeah, man. Just celebrate, man. Continue on the legacy of Hulk Hogan. Continue on the legacy of Ozzy Osbourne, right? Continue to play Black Sabbath and Ozzy, man. And just got to move on forward, man. Move on forward with life. And SummerSlam. Yeah, that's right around the corner. Anyway, That is it, my friends. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe out there as always. Take care of each one of the other. Love one of each other, as I can't speak tonight, but I'm going to get some sleep now. So take care. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys next